Shalom. Call Halayim Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And a sincere shalom to the 144,001 third. Now, over the years, decades of this rapid development of technology and the spirit the Most High Yahweh put upon this place, these average Americans, these average Babylonians, their common sense and their intelligence levels are definitely rapidly decreasing. And you see it more and more with these new eras, these new generations, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, so on and so forth. Their literacy rates, it is not just a concentrated event. It's all of these Americans. I think it was stated by the American Literacy Society that a little bit over 50%, like 54% of Americans are at or below a 6th grade literacy level. So that means pretty much every other person you meet is as literate as like a 12-year-old. And you see why you have a specific type of conversation and this person cannot understand what you say, or they take it the wrong way because they're an idiot. If you talk to an idiot, or you just talk to, I would say not necessarily an idiot, but if you talk to somebody that cannot comprehend what you're saying, they're going to be confused. And then most people are extremely egotistical, right? They have they're overly proud that they won't admit that they're an idiot in the conversation. And they may just try to start a debate or just something like that, right? Because they feel attacked because they're stupid. And this is how most Americans are, and just Westerners in general, right? People that have been drunk off this Babylon juice. Let's get this in Isaiah. Isaiah, the 24th chapter. And Isaiah, the 24th chapter. In verse 10. The city of confusion. What is that city of confusion? Babylon. Babylon goes into confusion. The city of Babylon. All right. The city of confusion. This is not talking about ancient Babylon, which is what? In the Middle East, Iraq, I believe. This is talking about the daughter of Babylon. All right. Rome, that had that wound, that deadly wound healed. All right. Of course, the Roman Empire is all these Edomite colonies, if you will. But the main target is Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. And we're going to start seeing that come to play now. More and more. You got brothers saying, oh, the mirth is gone. I mean, that's clearly not true, right? You got Coachella. They having like record sales of attendance. How can you say a place mirth is gone when one of the biggest music festivals in history are having record sales? Overcharge. I thought it was a joke. Coachella, they'll sell you 3 tacos for like $50. To get a drink, a burrito, or let's say three tacos, nachos, and a drink will be like $125. And people buying that up. They buying that up, man. People still showing up to these sporting events and clubs. The mirth is still here. But guess what? The Most High Yahweh is going to do something nasty. I'm telling you. The scriptures is telling you. You know? Yahweh is going to do something real nasty to this place. All right? And the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. There's something going to go down. Some supernatural things are going to happen to this whole entire country. Not just small little, no. It's going to be the whole country is going to be enveloped in calamity. You're going to have these animals, like a swarm of hornets. The Most High Yahweh can release trillions of hornets, you know, or what's them things called? Japanese hornets. They're super big and they kill people because they're so large. Their stingers are so thick and they're very aggressive, right? They'll just keep stinging you over and over again, and they have these super powerful stingers. They kill people in Asia. Imagine the Most High Yahweh send a whole fleet of those, man, to envelop Miami. He could send trillions of hornets to cover Miami. Guess what everybody's going to do? They're going to be in the house. Nobody going to be outside. Of course, you know, these bug outs, especially since it's Florida, people going to come out in their little bee suits. They going to get ate up, you know? And then, hey, your drains, you know, your drain pipes, like your sink, toilet, etc. Animals can come through those. People don't know that. I do, because in my grandparents' house, wasps would come through the shower drain. And I've seen other videos of like frogs and snakes and rats coming through the toilet. And of course, you know, roaches can come through pretty much anything. The Most High Yahweh can send snakes into your house through your drain. You know, imagine there's 100 snakes all piled up in your house. Poisonous, like some cottonmouths, right? Piled up in your house. You know, this is what's going to happen. Guess what? These Americans are dummies. So they're going to make the wrong decision and get killed for being stupid. Let's get this in Exodus. Exodus 4, the 4th chapter, in verse 11. And Yahweh said unto him, who hath made man's mouth? Or who maketh the dumb, or the deaf, or the seeing, or the blind? Have not I Yahweh? So guess what? Yahweh can make you smart or stupid from birth or as time progresses. Because imagine you got a Babylonian American, whether it's a Jake, Edomite, whatever, right? And as soon as they graduate high school, let's say their job or whatever is not very stimulating to the mind, stimulating to the body. Or they, you know, because your body is very important. You know, if your body is healthy, your brain is going to be more healthy, right? Because it's going to have more efficiency of nutrients and blood flow and stress being relieved. So you got to be in shape, you know, got to lift some type of weights, do push-ups, calisthenics, cardio, right? Then you got to stimulate your mind, whether it could be, I don't know, reading a book. You know, video games are actually pretty healthy for your mind. You know, just something that stimulates you mentally. Most Americans, Babylonians, they ain't doing that. You know, they go to work, mundane work, come home, BS around, watch the game, gossip about other people's lives, right? So that makes you stupid. You don't get smarter as you age. You know, you get dumber. And you get even dumber if you're not taking care of yourself. And these Babylonians aren't taking care of themselves as a collective majority. So the Most High Yahweh is what? Making them dumb. making them stupid, fragile. And look what Esau does to these people through his propaganda, through his deceptiveness, putting stuff in the water, putting stuff in the food. You don't think that's doing something? You don't think that has an effect? I talk to older people, and they tell me that once upon a time McDonald's was delicious. Now, me personally, once I got a little older, I stopped liking McDonald's. Started tasting disgusting. Right? Now, granted, they're like Frappuccinos and stuff, and cookies are kind of good. But anything else, like their meat, bread, and stuff, I don't really mess with it too much. But their chocolate chip cookies are pretty good in the Frappuccino. But the burgers and all that, older Jakes that are like in their 70s that I talk to. Of course, they would be in their 70s now if they were still alive, like one of my uncles. And he said McDonald's used to be real. He said it was good. And I talked to other older people. They're like, yeah, McDonald's and I can't think of all the names. Burger King. Like, it tasted dramatically better. And now they say it tastes like trash compared to what it used to taste like. Why? Because Esau want to make a profit. Esau want to dumb down and weaken his population because he's an idiot. Because you're weakening the same people that you want to go fight, that you're going to use to try to fight for you. That's not very intelligent. So this is 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and verse 11. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Now, this is ultimately talking about Jacob. But guess what? You think all these negative things that happen to his people aren't going to happen to other nations? Of course not. All these curses are going to fall upon our enemies. That's what Deuteronomy 30th chapter, right around there. I don't want to go to it right now, but Deuteronomy 30th chapter, probably verse 7. So guess what? These people are delusional, especially these women. All right, these men delusional too, right? All these people, even of the world, they have these false religions and all that. But these other nations, you can tell this is a plague on Americans and heavily westernized influenced countries. Because if you talk to somebody that's from Japan or some other country that's not really influenced by America and they have a good educational system, they ain't stupid. They ain't believing propaganda and BS, man. Like Japanese, Chinese, even someplace like Saudi Arabia and whatnot, Qatar. They have a higher base level intelligence than Americans, right? They don't fall for propaganda. They're not super biased, because you talk to some people here in the U.S., right? Americans, they don't want to believe the truth. They want to believe whatever their opinion is, even if they know it's an opinion and it's not a fact. They still going to side with their opinion because they're delusional, right? And the Most High Yahweh doesn't want people like that in His body. Those people get excommunicated. Persona non grata, because that's what women do. All these negative traits you see in women exist in men. Women are just weaker vessels, so you see more of it. But all the things that you hear men talk about towards women applies to men too. It's just less prominent. It's just less of it. But it's still there because it's just weakness and sin that inhabits your flesh. Now let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 49th chapter and verse 7. Concerning Edom, thus said Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? And guess what? Trump is a Temanite. Temanites are through the spirit. Those are the Germans, all right, in that area where Esau inhabited in Europe. And Trump, his lineage goes back to Germany, All right, and look what Trump is doing. You see what he's doing? It's insider trading, blatantly. You know, he's making these dumb moves with Iran. Now, you could say it has a bigger picture. Like, this is chess. But guess what? It's still stupid because they're going to fail. These international bankers and all these other secret councils of the wicked, they're all going to fail. And the elect is going to win. And the first elect was Yahweh Shai. Okay? And then the rest of the elect are going to win against you devils. Because all you want to do is bring about your order, your form of living, which is wickedness and adverse to what the Most High Yahweh wants on the earth for eternity. So let's end this off in Jeremiah, the 47th chapter. Okay. Oh, actually, no, not Jeremiah. Isaiah, the 47th chapter, and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Why is it called the virgin daughter of Babylon? Because this place, the U.S., has not been invaded, right? Now, you could say, oh, Canada with, whatever. But I don't, that Babylon wasn't an established country at that point. And then you could say Pearl Harbor, that wasn't an invasion. That was an attack on a couple boats, couple military. That's not an invasion. An invasion is, at this point, millions, hundreds of thousands and millions of troops with tanks, military, all types of, aquatic, amphibious, vehicles, fighter jets, helicopters, warships. That's an invasion. Not no kamikaze plane, all right, with Pearl Harbor. So this place hasn't been touched yet, but it is going to get touched by Russia and Ishmael, Elam, Gomer. They're going to touch this place. They're going to pop Babylon's cherry with a missile. And missiles look like penises, right? It's not a coincidence. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. And Yahweh Shai is not going to come back as a man when he put in work, all right, to take this place out. He's going to have a body, an angelic, Elohim-esque body. He's going to be immortal. He's going to have the utmost spiritual power. And he's going to conquer this place. He's going to take this place out. And it's going to be intense. Because this is going to be real. You're going to see chariots. Even more. Attacking people. Delivering the elect. Yahweh Shai. And his glory. Doing what he do. So yeah. And you Americans are idiots. You're falling hook, line, and sinker for this devil's trap. All right. And with that, shalom.